Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is the Mucking Funday. Have you woken up for your Monday this morning or this afternoon? What have you been doing? We're here to tell you all the things you might have missed over the weekend and things that are happening today. Because there's a lot of things that have happened. This was a pretty busy week, honestly. At least it felt like a pretty busy weekend. We had 2 elections, we had some storms, we had some Eurovision, of course. So we're going to tell you all about that here on Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we start. We yap, we chat, and we get a cup of coffee. Let's get in today's headlines. Today on Mucking Funday, Poland heads to runoff between pro-EU Trzaskowski and Euro-skeptic Nawrocki. And Take Bro tears and EU delight as Dan beats right-winger in Romania's election.
And it's Roger from the United States, where we have nothing but disasters. And our first update, the storms over the weekend that killed 28.
Coming out of the Netherlands, huge crowds piles pressure on the Dutch government to seek an end to Israel's campaign in Gaza.
And in more disaster news, we will update the bombing in Palm Springs and the bridge crash in Brooklyn.
In our culture news, Austrians celebrate JJ bringing home first Eurovision win in 11 years. That's a long time.
And it's May Ray Day. May 19th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
So we've made it to another week. We survived, tornadoes, and I survived, honestly, nothing. A flood. No way. It hasn't been raining for weeks, actually. No, maybe it rained yesterday. It looked like it was going to rain, but then it didn't rain. But I had some nice...
the power was out, too.
Oh, really? Yeah. I had some nice tanning in the sun. Self-care day. And you just were hiding in a basement, is what you said before. All right, let's get our first segue rolled so we know what to say to each other, how to talk, how to speak. Why conversate normally when a wheel can tell you what to do? Our first segue is an alliteration headline. We're talking about 2 stories in this section, all about elections, because everyone loves voting for who's going to run your country. First one is coming off of Poland, which just had their first round of polls to decide who's going to lead the country. This is from Olena Gancarova on the Kyiv Independent. Warsaw Mayor Rafał Trzaskowski narrowly led Poland's presidential election on the 18th of May, but failed to secure an outright victory. He will face conservative Nawrocki in a runoff on the 1st of June. So we'll come back to you guys after the 1st of June to update you on that train wreck. A lot of people are very disappointed. I saw when I was on social media before the show that I only saw one person, to be fair. It's not like the Polish diaspora or something is on my social media, but one person said 20% of people voted for a far-right politician. I'm very disappointed in my country. So that's one person's opinion. Trzaskowski, a senior figure in the Prime Minister Donald Tusk's civic platform PO party, won 31.4% of the vote, final results showed. Nawrocki, an historian backed by Conservative Law and Justice PIS party, came in second with 29.5%, so actually more than 20%, almost 30%. Setting the stage for a closely contested runoff as no candidate among the 13 contenders passed the 50% threshold. Speaking to supporters at a rally, Sandomierz, southern Poland, Trzaskowski said, "We're going to win, but acknowledged that victory would require a lot more work and great determination." He added, "I'm convinced that all Poland will win." Trzaskowski has pledged to work with Tusk's coalition government to liberalize Poland's strict abortion laws and to push forward long-stalled judicial reforms which were previously blocked under the PIS-led government. Despite leading the polls in the lead-up to the vote, Trzaskowski underperformed expectations, which had placed him at 4 to 6 points ahead of Nawrocki, but it was only really 3. His campaign now faces the challenge of consolidating centrist and center-left support, including from junior coalition parties such as the Left and the Conservative Third Way. To be fair, this is only going to be a one-on-one fight. But previously, right, it was 13 other contenders, right? So a lot of the votes were spread out between all 13 of those contenders. But since these are the final two, so to say, it's going to be much easier to consolidate all those votes into the person that they want to vote for. So that's why they say that they need to get the left and on their side. I mean, for me, in any scenario, it never makes any sense for the left to vote for a far-right politician. But, you know, it has happened. There has been things where it's like, oh, you guys, the center sucks. We're going to side with the other radicals, even if they're on the completely other side of our politics. At least the radical, right? We share that in common. They're going to get the work done. It might not be what we want to do, but they're going to get it done. Nawrocki, relatively unknown nationally before being endorsed by the PIS party, has seen his profile rise throughout the campaign. Addressing his supporters in Gdansk, he warned that Tusk must be stopped from gaining total power in Poland. He urged voters who backed far-right candidates Sławomir Mencen, 14%, and Grzegorz Braun, 6.3%, to rally behind him in the second round to save Poland from Tusk's influence. Oh no, he's already the president. You know, maybe he's not. Right, this is voting. He's gonna just use the new guy as his puppet. While Poland presidency is largely ceremonial, the role carries veto power, with Tusk's coalition lacking the parliamentary majority to override presidential veto. The outcome of the runoff will determine whether the government can move forward with key reforms. If we want to ban all the immigrants, we're gonna have to be able to out-veto the president or whatever. Yeah, whatever. It's go vote. That's all I have to say, really, as somebody who's not Polish, so I can't vote. But if you're Polish and you're watching this and you see this, please go vote. Because the more people you vote, the more those percentage points mean less, right? So if there's only 50 people voting, 1% of 50 is a lot of people, okay? But, you know, if there's 5,000 people voting, 1% of 5,000 is way, you know, it's way less of an impact. So the more people that are voting, the more impact, the more, you know, these populist points, which pull things all the way to the left or all the way to the right, they really push it to the edges of politics, they can be avoided. You have a segue for me?
I have two headlines for you. It's provoked polls polled. What do you call it? All right, polls polled. Right? Hey, and Warsaw winners winnowed. Warsaw winnows.
Winnows.
That's hard to say. Warsaw winners winnowed. Winnowed means to reduce, call down to 2, right? Anyway,
yeah.
In case English is not your major. Anyway, there's your headlines. Next story.
Thank you. In our next story, we're going to talk about Romania's election, this is the actual final election where they determined who was going to be leading. And good news for everybody who doesn't like far-right right-wingers, but want to, you know, pull the country away from the European Union and into the hands of Russia. Everyone has sighed a breath of relief after last night's moderate Bucharest mayor Nucasor Dan fended off a fierce hard-right challenge to win the Romanian presidential election. This is by Ali Walker on Politico. Mainstream European leaders rushed to congratulate Dan on his surprise win, while Simeon's right-wing acolytes bemoaned in defeat. "I will miss congratulations to Nicolae Dan and his victory tonight," said European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. "The Romanian people have turned out massively to the polls. They have chosen the promise of an open, prosperous Romania and a strong Europe. Together, let's deliver on that promise. Looking forward to working with you." Dan beat ultra-nationalist candidate George Simeon to win the election, as the hard-right candidate cozied up to convicted felon Trump, ripping pages from his MAGA agenda while threatening to stop military support from Ukraine. Congratulations, Nicos-Dan! Long live free Romania! Exalted center-right Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, whose party candidate has won a narrow election victory, which we just talked about. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who also thrilled by the income, as Dan promises to keep Romania on its pro-EU, pro-NATO pathway. And the more people they have supporting Ukraine, the better chances Ukraine gets for being in there. For Ukraine, as a neighbor and a friend, it is important to have Romania as a reliable partner. We are confident we will. By working together, we can strengthen both our countries and our Europe, Zelensky said. I look forward to further developing the strategic partnerships between our friendly nations for the sake of their stability, security, and prosperity, Zelensky added. Congratulations, Dan. In being elected President of Romania, Moldova and Romania stand together in supporting one another, working side by side for a peaceful, democratic, and European future for all our citizens, said Moldovan President Maia Sandu, whose country has been at loggerheads with the Eurodentist for years. From City Hall to the table of a European Council, sincere congratulations to Nicos-Dan for winning the Romanian presidential election. This is a strong signal of Romania's attachment to the European project. I look forward to working with you for a better Europe and a better Romania, beamed European Council President Antonio Costa. Not everyone, of course, was cheering Dan's win, however. Well, Romania had a good run. Thanks for the pleasant memories, said Tristan Tate, brother of notorious manosphere influencer and sex trafficker Andrew Tate. Oh, boo-hoo. Good. Leave Romania so you can stop trafficking girls into your cam farm. Good riddance. The brothers have lived in Romania for years and are under investigation for human trafficking. Yeah, what the Tate brothers were doing, in case anyone doesn't... I know you guys have heard he's a human trafficker, but what they were doing is they coax girls into being cam girls, right? Then they make like a huge warehouse of a bunch of cam girls just cam girling, and they take all the profits. And probably give them some pennies too. Just to be nice, you know? Oh yeah, you can make money as well. So, I'm all for sex work, but I'm not for pimping, okay? You're doing zero work. Zero of the work, and you're making all the money off of these women. And sometimes young girls. Tricking them into doing shit that they should get paid fully 100% for, right? Okay, like... That's
why it's called turning tricks.
Exactly. But there's my story. Congratulations, right. Don.
Romania resists Russian rudeness and readies for recrimination.
Wow. Going for a
or Bucharest
combo there.
Or we just want to use capital cities. Bucharest Barkers battle. Barkers, you know. Couldn't think of anything else for politicians. There's your silly headlines for today.
All right, let's roll another segue wheel.
This one says 11 to 14 minutes, but maybe it's a bunch of pictures. We'll see. Probably. What'd you get?
I got non sequitur.
Okay, non sequitur. That was easy enough. This is from AP. Residents dig out from tornado damage after storms killed 28 in Kentucky, Missouri, and Virginia. This is from Dylan Lovan and Carolyn Castor of AP. Residents in Kentucky and Missouri sifted through damage in tornado-stricken neighborhoods, still on the edge Sunday for more severe weather ahead after storms that killed more than 24 people as they swept through parts of the Midwest and South. Is Missouri the Midwest anymore? I guess it is, the North, but I consider it the South because they vote with the South. So you can be the South, Missouri. You want to be, so there you are. Kentucky was hardest hit as a devastating tornado damaged hundreds of homes, tossed vehicles about, and left many homeless. At least 19 people were killed. Most of them were in southeastern Laurel County. Meteorologists, it was hit in the middle of the night. That's not even fair.
Oh, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm sleeping. What? A tornado's here? Whatever. Kill me. I don't care. I'm not waking up. That's what I would think. That's personally what I would think. I'm not, whatever. Kill me. At least I'll be asleep forever.
Yeah, and I'm just saying if the early warning system may have failed too, I'm not sure. Meteorologists predicted a fresh multi-day mix of dangerous weather conditions across the nation's midsection with heavy rains, thunderstorms, and potential tornadoes, according to the National Weather Service. Of course, this is probably for yesterday. The Weather Service confirmed a large and extremely dangerous tornado Sunday afternoon near Mingus, Texas, about 70 miles west of Fort Worth. Significant damage, but no immediate casualties reported in Palo Pinto County, which includes Mingus. A sheriff's office dispatcher said.
Is
Forecasters warned of hail-sized tennis balls.
Boy Meets World?
Mingus?
Yeah. Or maybe you never watched that show,
No.
Boy Meets World.
Not sure.
There was like a nerd.
Forecasters warned of hail.
Called him Mingus.
Okay. You're already doing a non sequitur. Anyway, forecasters warned of a hail size of tennis balls in that area, damaging hail elsewhere in parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Nebraska. Jeff White's almost 17 years destroyed along with much of his neighborhood in London, Kentucky. I could have started this headline and say, London is devastated by tornado, and everybody like, what? Yeah, London, Kentucky. Wyatt, his wife, and two of their children scarcely made it to safety in the hallway while the roof and family room were ripped away. On Sunday, the family returned to the wrecked home to collect photos, baby blankets, and other keepsakes. Man, when you get up there with those drone pictures and start taking pictures of the tornado damage, you can see like the path. And it's
exactly where it went. Straight line.
The fact that one house 20 feet away is completely untouched and the other one is just gone, just completely gone. Just amazing. And it ain't God, by the way, because God isn't playing favorites. As much as you wish, he isn't. God saves me. No. Save you while he's killing those other people. It's totally random. It happened so fast, said Wyatt, 54. If we would have been there 10 seconds longer, we would have been gone with the family room. Yep. Survivors and their supporters picked through the debris in London on Sunday, wary about new forecasts. Severe storms are possible for Kentucky on Monday, and even more so on Tuesday, the Weather Service said. Zach Wilson, whose parents' home was destroyed, said he was terrified another storm would ruin the remaining salvageable items scattered across their property, even worse, destroy another community. Well, it'd be better if it's in the same place twice, wouldn't it, right? At least it's not knocking over new buildings, and all those people are not there anymore, so they can't get killed twice. I don't know. If I had to tell anybody, it would be to listen to every word that the National Weather Service kicks out and take every warning seriously, Wilson said. The Kentucky storms emerged from a weather system Friday that killed 7 in Missouri and 2 in Northern Virginia, authorities said. The system also spawned tornadoes in Wisconsin. Also spawned tornadoes in Maryland, but apparently AP doesn't give a crap. Brought punishing heat to Texas and temporarily enveloped part of New Orleans, including Chicago, in a pall of dust on the otherwise sunny day. A pall of dust. Missouri, the Weather Service said parts of Missouri and Kansas could see severe thunderstorms, golf ball size hail, and wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour into Monday. In London, Kentucky, Ryan Van Norstan huddled with his brother's large dogs in the first floor closet as the storm hit his brother's home Friday in a neighborhood along Keavy Road, where much of the destruction in the community of nearly 8,000 people was centered. Van Nostrand was house sitting. I love the American flag. People put an American flag on their property, like, oh yeah, we're claiming this free America. No idea what that's supposed to mean. He said he felt his house shake as he got into a closet. Then a door from another house crashed through the window. All the windows blew out of the house and his car was destroyed. Chunks of wood had punched through several parts of the roof, but the house avoided catastrophic damage. When he stepped outside, he heard screaming. I guess in the moment I kind of realized there was nothing I could do. I'd never really felt that kind of power from just nature, he said. Damage assessments were underway Sunday as the state readied for its request for federal disaster assistance, which they'll probably turn it down, I don't know. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said. The governor of Kentucky is strangely a Democrat. Kentucky, weird state. Votes like 80% for Trump, but they have a Democratic governor because he's a very popular guy. The governor announced in a 19th storm victim, a woman from Russell County, of 10 people hospitalized for weather-related injuries, 3 remained in critical condition. A lot of Kentuckians are hurting right now, Beshear said on social media, touting fundraising efforts to help with funerals and rebuilding. If you're able to help, please do. He said parts of 24 state roads are closed and some could take days to reopen. About 1,200 tornadoes strike the U.S. annually and have been reported in all 50 states. Researchers found in 2018 that deadly tornadoes are occurring less frequently in the traditional tornado alley of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas, and more frequently in parts of the more densely populated and tree-filled Mid-South. In St. Louis, Mayor Cara Spencer said 5 people died, 38 were injured, and more than 5,000 homes were affected. The devastation is truly heartbreaking. A tornado struck in Scott County, about 130 miles south of St. Louis, killing 2 people and injuring several others and destroying several homes. Derek Wheatley, the sheriff, wrote on social media. The storms hit after the Diaper-Donnie administration massively cut staffing in the National Weather Service office, with outside experts worrying about how it would affect warnings and disasters such as tornadoes. I'm sure those budget cuts won't affect anything. The office in Jackson, Kentucky. I was being sarcastic. The office in Jackson, Kentucky, which was responsible for the area around London, Kentucky, had a March 2025 vacancy rate of 25%. The Louisville, Kentucky Weather Service staff was down 29%, and the St. Louis office was down 16%, according to calculations by Weather Service employees obtained by the Associated Press. The Louisville office was also without a permanent boss, the meteorologist in charge as of March, according to the staffing data. So shortages probably affected the warnings getting out, probably killed people, but hey, more for the rest of us, right, fascists? More for the rest of us when other people get killed. That's the way to think about it. When they lose, we gain. That's how it works every single time. Every time. Yeah, right. Anyway, more sarcasm. Yeah. There's your story.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, you're right. Because as the Zero Zone game is real and not totally made up in your head, okay? There's only 100 of success in the world, and only the billionaires deserve it because they work hard by exploiting others.
Oh yeah.
If you were strong enough and powerful enough to exploit others, you'd also do it. Okay, so it's not wrong for them to do it.
That's right. Billionaires earned it by fighting their way out of that. They earn that by fighting their way out of that rich woman's uterus.
Yeah. Anyways, let's roll our next segue so we can move on to my protest news. It was almost a non sequitur, but it's a haiku. Let's write a haiku about huge protest movements in the Netherlands. Now, I know Netherlands only has, 17 million people, but it is the most densely populated country in, I think, Europe. They might be competing for the world, top 5 at least, but I know they're pretty densely populated in Europe. Yeah. So it's very cool to see all those people in one place. Obviously not 17 million. I wasn't there. So I don't even know what was happening, but I don't know how people know about these protests. I think you have to already be in the movement, and then you have to get a message on WhatsApp or something. Meet us in The Hague at 8 a.m. and we're gonna walk for 12 hours. So that's what happened yesterday. This is by Molly Quell on AP News, coming out of The Hague. Tens of thousands of red-clad protesters marched through the Dutch capital on yesterday. What was it? The 18th, right? Yeah, the 18th of May, to demand their government do more to halt Israel's campaign in Gaza, and what organizers called the country's biggest demonstration in 2 decades. What was the previous one? Human rights groups and aid agencies, including Amnesty International, Save the Children, and Doctors Without Borders, estimated the peaceful crowd at more than 100,000 people, and the streets of The Hague were packed with old, young, and even some babies on the first protest. Babies should be protesting the war because they're killing a lot of them, Yeah, right. As my demographic as a baby, I'm a very big threat. I like how people are still saying, no babies were killed, no babies have been killed, even though there's actual footage of it, but, that's AI! That's AI footage, that's not real. That's the problem with AI now. People can just claim that's not real, it was generated, that's not a real baby, whatever. We hope this is a wake-up call for the government, said teacher Roos Lingbeck, attending the march with her husband and 12-week-old daughter. Dido, who slept in a carrier as her parents branched aside, simply gritting, "Stop." I think that's why they were all dressed in red, by the way, because that's the color of a stop sign. The march took the young families past the Peace Palace, headquarters of the United Nations International Court of Justice, where last year judges ordered Israel to do all it can to prevent death, destruction, and any acts of genocide in Gaza. What they should do is go to jail for committing said genocide. As the protest wound its way past the courts, canals, and seat of the Netherlands' right-wing government, Israeli forces continue to pound northern Gaza, where they have launched new ground operations. Airstrikes in the offensive killed at least 103 people, including dozens of children overnight and into the 18th of May, which was yesterday's Sunday. Hospitals and medics said and forced northern Gaza's main hospital to close. An Israeli blockade on food, medicine, and other supplies is now in its third month, with global food security experts warning a famine across the territory of more than 2 million people. David Prinz, whose yarmulke was printed with the image of a watermelon, which shares the colors of the Palestinian flag, told the Associated Press he was attending the protest to speak against the atrocities. The 64-year-old was standing across the street from the synagogue he attended growing up, which overlooks the field where the demonstration began. Protesters walked a 3-mile or 5-kilometer loop around the city center of The Hague to symbolically create the red line they say the government has failed to set. We've actually walked that path. We walked all the way to the Peace Palace, and when we went to The Hague together. We are calling on the Dutch government. Stop political, economic, and military support to Israel as long as it blocks access to aid supplies, and while it is guilty of genocide, war crimes, and structural human rights violations in Gaza and the occupied Palestinian territories. Marion Rosama of Amnesty International told AP. Israel strongly denies that's committing genocide because nobody ever says, "Yep, you got me." Red-handed. I love genocide. No, you're never going to catch anyone in the history of the world who says, "Yeah, let's genocide, woohoo!" Not even Hitler used that word, I think. He never said that. He just said, we have to free this land for Germans or something. You know? You always paint it up pretty. You're never going to say, "Yeah, let's go. Genocide!" Some unable to make the trek to the city set along the route to cheer on the marchers. It's beyond time for the government to act, Alitha Steins told AP. While holding crutches for her knee injury, she was joined by several friends in the camping chairs on the sidewalk. Dutch policy towards Israel is just one of the many issues causing splits in the Netherlands' fragile coalition government. Hard-right leader Geert Wilders is staunchly pro-Israel, and his anti-immigrant party Freedom holds the largest number of seats in the country's parliament. Last week, however, Foreign Affairs Minister Caspar Veldkamp of the minority center-right VVD party urged the European Union to review a trade agreement with Israel, arguing that its blockade of humanitarian aid violated international law. Wilders hit back, denouncing this as a call of affront to the cabinet policy. Let them starve, Geert Wilders says. You know, this is my theory, right? If you're so anti-immigrant, you know, that means you're anti-others. You don't like other people. Now, if Israel were to not be a country anymore, where are all those Jews gonna go? Not back to Europe, which, as somebody who studied this, Europe has been famously anti-Semite since the beginning of time, right? You can find medieval paintings of, you know, goblin-looking Jews, as I would like to say, that J.K. Rowling took inspiration from. These guys are evil because we don't like them. They're Jewish. I don't know. And that's been historically what European has felt in a general way. So, yeah, of course, a lot of Europeans are going to be pro-Israel because they don't want them to come here. Stay away. We gave you your own land. And we could just let them commit genocide so all those Jews won't have to come here. It's all an act. I'm just saying, it's all an act. Right? Germany and the Netherlands and Poland or whatever. Oh, we're not anti-Semite because we support Israel. Well, actually, I would argue supporting them is anti-Semite. But, you know, that's me.
Yeah, don't forget the Nazis. The Nazis took hold by playing victim too. You know, so exactly. not to compare them to the Nazis, but that's what they did. They said, "Oh no, the Reichstag fire. We're under attack."
We have to get everyone out of here.
I theorized from the start.
Yeah.
That Netanyahu knew October 7th was going to happen and just let it happen to gain political power. And I haven't seen no indication that I'm wrong. So.
No, I agree.
Anyway.
That's my story. Congratulations, all those 100,000 people who went to protest in The Hague. I've seen some photos of it. Just huge crowds from streets to blocks. Yeah.
Don't waste that good weather. Get out there and protest. And our haiku today is: Dutch take to the streets to protest bombing children in the name of peace.
Amazing. So the sincerity. Here we go. You're crouching. Always takes
we
so
demand
long to
peace, therefore we're gonna bomb hospitals. Yeah.
It's not genocide, by the way, bombing a hospital. That's just a normal war crime.
I gotta find Bill Burr's little blurb on bombing hospitals. It's like, he compared it to punching... I want to punch my neighbor, but if he's holding a baby, I'm gonna wait till he puts the baby down before I punch him. Or maybe until he walks over to the lawn and I can punch him and the baby has a soft landing. But I'm definitely not gonna punch through the baby, right? That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're punching through the baby.
Hey Tommy, we're just talking about not committing genocide over here.
Yeah.
I know it's hard for some countries to not do it, but everyone else is doing fine without it. But
we could do the work and actually prevent death, but we're not gonna do that. It's much easier just to randomly
way
murder
easier just to
people
kill babies. Yeah. Way easier.
Yeah, we killed 47 children, but at least we got that one terrorist. Oh boy, I feel safer.
Anyways, the next segue is a bad pun.
All right. Okay, bad puns about bombings, I suppose. Hey, yikes. There's all kinds of bomb puns. This is from KTLA.com. We forgive the perpetrator. Palm Springs IVF clinic doctor speaks out. Embryos saved, says the headline from Lily Dallow of KTLA.com. KTLA, Los Angeles TV station. A day after terrorist bombing annihilated a reproductive health clinic building in Palm Springs. Must have been one of them pro-life people, huh?
Yeah, right. I'm pro-life, so let's kill some doctors. Woohoo!
Nah, well, we're not gonna assign motives to this guy yet. But if you're a bomber, your brain doesn't work anyway. So there you go. A day after a terrorist bombing annihilated a reproductive clinic in Palm Springs, the facility's doctor is sending out a strong message of hope and plans to rebuild. We will bounce back better than ever before, Dr. Maher Abdullah of the American Reproductive Center said in a statement shared with KTLA on Sunday. Helping families is our calling. Nothing will derail our project. Nothing! He shook his fist at a camera. No, I added that part. Sorry. I like the drama. Dr. Abdullah shared that attack completely obliterated the clinic building and damaged the surgery center. Luckily, the bombing did not damage the embryos, which on Sunday were saved in heroic mission by two helpers who faced entering the compromised structures. I wonder how much these helpers are getting paid and if they're getting a raise. I would definitely be giving them a raise. They saved your entire business, folks. Anyway, FBI agent Chris Meltzer and Assistant Fire Chief Greg Lyle realized the hopes and dreams of families were stored inside the family fertility clinic. Palm Springs Police Department Police Department Chief Andy Mills. He's also a chef. He makes a great pot pie. Anyway, Palm Springs Police Department Chief Andy Mills shared in a Facebook post. Both men braved the environment to protect the embryos from loss. The chief's post explained how Metzer and Lyle went inside, established the electricity to repower the incubators, and ensured that the cryogenic containers were intact. Then they went into a collapsing building and retrieved medical records so the treatment could be given this week to couples dreaming of having a It saved the medical records. My God, don't they have my computer? I'm sorry. Anyway, God, I love this profession. I am honored to walk in the presence of giants, said Mills. There you go, buddy. As for ARC's treatment plans in the interim, Dr. Abdullah said they will see patients at a temporary location in Palm Desert on Monday, and they will have further updates on Thursday press conference. We will return to our Palm Springs location once the renovation is complete, said Dr. Abdullah. Although No time estimate has been given so far on when the site will again be operational. Dr. Abdullah said the IVF lab on Palm Canyon remains functional, a hopeful sign. We forgive the perpetrator, said Dr. Abdullah. Our focus remains on life and hope. They forgave the perpetrator. I don't know who it is, but I'm sure he's a pro-life idiot. He's definitely an idiot. So usually when they set off bombs, it takes a couple of weeks to find out the ballistics of it and how it was built and what it did.
And then they need to know what to pay attention to for next time. Yeah. Sadly, it is a learning opportunity for another attack to avoid.
And of course,
save people.
And unfortunately, the FBI is being run by a team of monkeys, so they're probably never going to get to the bottom of it. So anyway, next story, you got your.
I do have a pun. It's not about bombs. It's about IVF because that's a little more positive. Why didn't the sperm cross the road?
I don't know.
Because fertility treatments intercepted it.
Oh.
It never made it across the road. There's an egg in the way. There you go. There's your bad pun.
I got an update here. 29 Palms man identified as a primary suspect in explosion.
Oh, so they don't even know who did it yet? They still have suspects.
Says,
okay.
So. Update and well, that's pretty quick. They got a suspect, right? Some guy that's been ordering bomb-making material or something, right? 29 Palms man sounds like a Marine. I spent a good year of my life in 29 Palms. I know that place. Very well, not really. It's just out in the desert, high desert, in the middle of nowhere. Accidentally close my.
Lost your story?
Page that I was reading. The Brooklyn Bridge crash over. Yeah, I got it back. This is from the BBC.com. Brooklyn Bridge ship crash. This is from this happened over the weekend. And, I traveled the bridge. It's in freaking Brooklyn, the biggest city in America, and North America. Actually, I'm sorry, in the United States, because actually Mexico City is the biggest in America. Anyway, this is from BBC.com. Vanessa Buschluter. That's her name. I swear. Mexicans are mourning the death of 2 killed on Saturday when they're trading tall ship Chautamuk. Has to be Native American. America Sanchez, 20, and 23-year-old Adar Yar Maldonado Marcos were among 277 crew members on board the Mexican Navy sailing ship when its 3 masts snapped as they hit the bridge. According to the Mexican media, Sanchez was one of the cadets who was standing atop the mast at the time of the accident. If you're atop the mast and you didn't see a bridge coming, I don't know what to tell you. You hit a bridge. It's a freaking bridge. Anyway, according to the Mexican media, Sanchez was one of the cadets who was standing atop the mast at the time of the accident. 22 other crew members were injured, 3 of them critically, the Mexican Navy said. The commander of the Mexican Navy, Admiral Pedro Raimundo Morales, said all the crew members were well enough to travel and be taken back to their homeland soon. The body of America Sanchez is scheduled to be transferred to Naval Academy in her home state of Veracruz later on Monday. Her mother, Rocio Hernandez, described the 20-year-old cadet as an exemplary daughter who was a dedicated student aiming to become a naval engineer. Standing before an impromptu altar adorned with flowers and photos of America Sanchez dressed up for her quinceanera, the party marking her 15th birthday, Ms. Hernandez paid tribute to her daughter. The body of America Sanchez will be taken to her home. Zalapa on Monday. She was a warrior, a soldier who didn't give up, who always fought for her goals, she said, adding that her daughter only had 1 year left until her graduation. The Navy, will hold a private ceremony in her honor at the Veracruz Naval Academy for her, and then I will bring her home, Ms. Hernandez said, thanking all of her daughter's relatives, friends, and teachers whom she asked to remember America with affection. In San Mateo del Mar, a coastal town in Oaxaca state, friends and relatives of Adal Yar Maldonado Marcos have also been paying their respects after the young cadet was confirmed as the second fatal victim of the crash. His friends told local media that the 23-year-old had always dreamt of following his father's footsteps and becoming a sailor. Being on board the Cuauhtémoc, I don't know how to pronounce this. Maybe the news media people out there have already pronounced it correctly, but I'm sure they screwed it up at first. Also known as the Knight of the Seas, had been his greatest wish, they recalled. The sea saw him being born, and the sea was a witness to his passing. One friend, the media, adding that all of us who knew him will remember him as a role model of intelligent youth. Friends say Maldonado Marcos had always dreamt of becoming a sailor. The investigation of how the accident happened is still underway. The New York police official said it appeared that the Cuauhtémoc had lost its power and was leaving New York Harbor, was dragged towards Brooklyn Bridge by the current.
Yeah, that's what I read on social media. That's what I heard.
Yeah. Its three masts, measuring more than 48 meters, hit the base of the bridge, which, according to the New York Transport Department's website, only has clearance of 41.1 meter. All three masts collapsed, and the video footage taken by bystanders shows some of the crew members dangling from the yards and sails. Mexico's Navy Secretary Raimundo Pedro Morales Angeles said in a statement that results of any investigation be followed with total transparency and responsibility. Let's try to pronounce it again. The Cuauhtémoc left Acapulco, Mexico on 6 April on a tour that included stops in New York and Aberdeen, Scotland for the city's tall ships race in July. So it's a largely ceremonial ship. Mexican Navy is not known for a whole lot of battles recently, but there's your horrible, tragic news.
I don't know much about any Mexican naval battles. That's true.
Right. It's largely ceremonial. I mean, there isn't a lot of sailing ships in the American Navy unless they're ceremonial. I'll tell you that. Yeah. Anyway, forgive you if you don't have a bad pun for that because it's horrible news. So.
I have a bad pun about crashing. Let me find it. Where did I leave it? Here it is. If you crash... let me put myself on screen. If you crash your car in your driveway, who do you blame? You can't blame anyone else. That's your own asphalt.
Ow! That's terrible. Terrible pun for terrible news.
Own asphalt.
Of course, all puns are by definition terrible.
I thought it was hilarious. Anyways, let's roll.
Yeah, but we can't be laughing at... We
can laugh at the pun. We can laugh at the pun.
Oh,
in that case, it wasn't their fault, right? The current took them away, and they were like, shit.
No, it wasn't their fault. The person on the mast just didn't have time to do anything except go, hey, look out.
It was a terrible accident.
Right.
Next segue is a metaphor and simile.
Don't forget the Navy does a dangerous job. It doesn't matter what Navy, it doesn't matter what country. It's a dangerous job.
The sea is not a friendly place. Even the rivers aren't a friendly place.
Any given time, there could be a disaster. All right.
In our culture news, we're going to talk about...
My time on ship... Huh? Sorry, my time on ship was spent not doing fire drills, but listening to the, 50 fire drills they run every single day, because that's, that's
how many different scenarios that can happen, on a ship. 50.
They just want people to be ready for their battle stations.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
All right, in our culture news, of course, we're going to talk about the Eurovision results, because that's what was the big thing that happened this weekend. This is from Angela Giofrida on The Guardian. Austrians have been celebrating... Huh?
What was my spin? Sorry.
Oh, metaphor. Accurate metaphor simile.
Okay.
Austrians have been celebrating JJ, an Austrian-Filipino countertenor lauded for singing Austria into the spotlight after bringing home the country's first Eurovision Song Contest victory in 11 years, with a song that gives a nod to both the country's rich operatic heritage and modern music. JJ, 24, hit all the right notes on the 18th of May with Wasted Love, an operatic ballad about unrequited love that mutates into a techno club anthem. The 69th edition of the contest was hosted in Basel, Switzerland, which we've been to. I mean, we didn't go there, but we stopped by on our trade-off from a French train to a Swiss train. The win was Austria's third in the history of the competition, after drag performer Conchita's success in 2014 and Udo Jürgens' win in 1966. Wow, that was even longer ago. Almost the same age as you. It's wonderful to have this victory 11 years after Conchita, said Michela Taroni, an Austrian-Italian correspondent in Rome for the Austrian press agency APA. JJ won because of his vocal qualities. He's a countertenor, so reaches the high notes. He was an outsider, but one who encompasses musical modernity with Austria's rich operatic tradition. JJ, whose real name is Johannes Peach, won ahead of Israel's Yuval Raphael, a survivor of the 7 October attacks by Hamas militants on the southern Israel that killed... Yeah, we know what happened. We don't have to go into that. Israel finished second, having led some time after a large public vote, but put them in the top spot. As with 2024, Israel's inclusion in the world's biggest music competition, which was watched by more than 160 million people across the world, sparked protests. You kick out Russia for invading Ukraine, but you don't kick out Israel for committing genocide. Interesting. I do want to point out, I don't know if they're going to say that in this article, but Israel pays a lot of money to the Eurovision contest. So, as usual, it comes down to cash. Oh, if we ban them, we'll lose all this money, and we won't have the budget for pyrotechnics and lighting, and we'll have to just be boring. I guess genocide's okay as long as we get money. Demonstrations were held in Basel on Saturday, the 17th of May, and the Eurovision crew member was hit by paint. Oh no, not paint. 2 pro-Palestinian protesters tried to rush on stage as Raphael sang "New Day Will Rise." Yeah, "A New Day Will Rise" on the corpses of the deceased children. The spokesperson for Israeli broadcaster Khan said Raphael was shaken and upset by the protesters. She should be. She should feel very bad for even wanting to promote Israel as a country. Many of the 200 protesters in Basel wrote Palestinian keffiyeh scarves and carried signs stating, "No music for murder, stop genocide, and singing while Gaza burns." Some burned huge Israeli and U.S. flags, and others sent red and green smoke into the air, according to AFP news agency. Pro-Palestinian marches were also held throughout the day in cities around the world in protest against Israel's intensified bombardment, which we just talked about. Sunday's protests, of course. In third place in the competition was Estonia's Tommy Cash with Espresso Macchiato, a song poking fun at Italian stereotypes that both riled and enthused Italians. After being presented with his winning trophy in Basel, JJ thanked his voters and called for more love in the world. He said "Wasted Love," which he co-wrote with Theodora Spirek and Thomas Turner, was intended to give listeners an insight into his deepest thoughts. There's no wasted love. Love is never wasted. There's so much love that we can spread around, and we should use love as the strongest force on the planet Earth. Couldn't have said it better myself, I agree. If everyone loved each other, they wouldn't attack each other. They wouldn't fight each other. Because you don't want to fight those you love. Unless you're in a really messed up relationship, in which case you need to get therapy. JJ's success was applauded by the Austrian Chancellor, Christian Stoker, who said the singer was writing musical history. Bate Reisinger, Austria's foreign minister, wrote on Twitter, "Dear JJ, you have moved Europe with your voice and sung Austria into the spotlight." The Philippa Consul General in Frankfurt also issued a message of congratulations to JJ on Facebook. "What an incredible moment! Filipino pride on the European stage," she said. Oh, Philippine, sorry. The Philippine Consulate General. Philippine. What is Philippine? I read that word and I was like, huh? The Filipino
Philippine.
General. They're Filipino. Yeah, okay. The Philippine.
Philippine. Yeah.
Philippine.
Yes, that makes sense.
Sorry, I'm sorry. The Philippine. That's how you'd say it if you're Filipino. The Philippine.
You're Filipino?
Filipino. Austria will host. I have friends that I grew up with Filipinos. Okay, I'm allowed to make these jokes. Austria will host next year's.
That works.
I know so many. All of my friends are Filipinos. I swear, except for Filipinos. Like 3.
Yeah, where we go?
Yeah, in high school. JJ
Pronouncing P's is F and F is P.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Tagalog thing.
Yeah.
Tagalog
is a really interesting language because it's partially their original language they spoke, and then some Spanish thrown in there. So, like this very interesting kind of Southeast Asian Spanish combo language.
Mm-hmm. You're right. From their occupiers.
Yeah. Thanks, by the way. Austria will host next year's contest. JJ, who returned home yesterday, said he would like the event to be held in Vienna, where he was born. Once again, the Eurovision Song Contest was a pitiful for the UK contenders, who came 19th out of a possible 26th, and received no points in the public vote for their appropriately named tune. What the hell just happened? Indeed. In the final, all participating countries get 2 sets of votes, one from a jury of comprising music experts, and one from public across Europe, who can vote by phone, text, or the Eurovision app. I also want to point out that you can buy votes. If you spend more money, you can have more votes, up to like 30, I think. And there were some people I saw on social media who were using several different credit cards to vote from several different places. You know, this of course is not an election for a country's leader. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people cheating the system to try to get their person to win. And there have been some theories from people that Israel got a lot of votes either because more people are boycotting it, so people who are anti-Israel aren't even watching the show. So if they're not watching, they're not voting. So the only people who are voting who are pro-Israel, so Israel gets a lot of votes. Or that Israel bought the whole competition, that they, paid for votes, people, and that's how they got a lot of votes. Of course, a lot of people might be asking, why does it even matter who wins Eurovision? Who cares? I mean, I personally don't care about music competitions myself. I think Eurovision has gone down the gutter in the last 10 years. I can't even tell you which Eurovision was the last good one, right? It's become way, way more, even though it's not political, it is politicized because, I mean, they banned Russia. If the show wasn't political, they wouldn't ban Russia. They would be like, well, it's not political, right? This is just about people, TV stations, And it's also become just more stale, It's, we have to create the perfect show for people to watch so that we get the numbers up and the algorithm and all that bullshit. So the show is more boring and stale and not creative,
Right.
I mean, the fact that Joost Klein got kicked out because he yelled at a photographer or something, whatever, like...
It's jumped the shark.
It's bad press. We better ban somebody from the competition. I'm as a half Dutch person at this point, I am insulted. I'm still angry that happened. You think? Yeah.
The old metaphor, jumping the shark, is apply here.
Yeah, exactly. Jumping the shark. That's a good.
Its original purpose. Its original purpose has just been bastardized into political statements.
Yeah. You're not allowed to be political, but we're going to not ban Israel because we want to be political.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're talking enough about them.
We're totally uncompromising in our compromises.
Yeah, exactly. That's the end of the show. At the end of the article, there's more, but it's just about how what the votes went and stuff like that.
My metaphor is that the Eurovision is like a beauty contest where beauty is kind of beside the point.
Let's spread the love by spreading the hate.
All right. And let's spin the wheel as we're spreading the love.
All right,
spreading
let's go
and spinning.
Into this
That's
day
what we do here.
In history.
Spreading and the spinning. Spinning.
Do you have a
mic
drop moment? Did you send me one?
Yes, I did. I sent you a mic drop. I sent you a
great.
video.
I got it.
And I'm going to update the story I just did. Haiku, and I'm just going to update the story I just finished. The FBI said Sunday investigators identified a suspect connected to the bombing near a fertility clinic in Palm Springs. The official identified the suspect as 25-year-old Guy Edward Bartkus. You won't be having any conversation with old Guy Edward because he killed himself when he blew up the... We're fairly confident that Mr. Bartkus is our primary suspect, said Akil Davis, assistant director of FBI's Los Angeles field office, speaking at a press conference. The subject had nihilistic ideations. Ideations, another word we used.
Nihilistic. Yeah, so he was like, nothing fucking matters. I'm going to go bomb someplace.
And this was a triggered attack. I guess he was anti-natalist, which I had to look up, which means he is in favor of nobody having any children anywhere. Good luck with that one, buddy. We're gonna stop people from having sex.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I think he's more talking about like the George Carlin aspect of like humans have had a good run. It's time to stop, right?
Yeah, but
he went to the extreme of that, right? Let me start killing babies, or I guess embryos.
Yeah. One person was killed and at least 4 were injured in a blast. Officials said on Sunday no embryos stored inside the clinic for harm. Davis said the FBI's believes Bartkus died in the blast and that he had been trying to live stream the attack. His body was discovered near the vehicle, a 2010 silver Ford Fusion.
Oh, he was found at the found at the crime scene. That's pretty funny.
Poor confused young man blows himself up. So, whatever. Rest in pieces, I guess. I don't know. On to this day in history. Let's play some music while I look for my page. On this day in history, what happened May 19th? We'll go back all the way to... Don't forget to play the home version of this day in history. In 1536, having been found guilty on charges of adultery, Anne Boleyn was beheaded. That's right. The second king Henry VIII of England and the mother of Queen Elizabeth I was beheaded. So England doing their weird shit in 1536. 1571, Spanish explorer Miguel Lopez de Legazpi established the city of Manila in the Philippines. So we were just talking about the Philippines. Happy birthday to the city of Manila. You got yourself a name in 1571, apparently. All of these huts gathered together in one place. We're going to call it Manila. In 1643, during the 30 Years' War, the French army, led by Louis de Bourbon, defeated the Spanish in the Battle of Rocroi.
Wait, the French won again in a war? That can't be right. That's a joke.
That's right. Must have been a sneak attack.
France
ending
won a
Spain's
lot
military
of
ascendancy in Europe. That's right. Well, that's right. Well, Napoleon kicked a lot of ass. Speaking of Napoleon, on this day in 1802, Napoleon created the Legion of Honor, a premier order of the French Republic. All right. I want one. 1845, in this day, English explorer John Franklin's ill-fated expedition to find the Northwest Passage began as the Erebus and the Terror set sail from London. Both ships later became trapped in ice, and Franklin and his crew perished. Did not find the Northwest Passage. They just got locked in ice, and that was the end. Can't go nowhere, can't resupply, and it's really cold. 1890, Ho Chi Minh was born. Ho Chi Minh, founder of the Indochina Communist Party, and his successor, the Viet Minh, and the president of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam, North Vietnam, was born in Hoang Tru, Vietnam, or French Indochina at the time, as we're French dominating the news today. The history of the news. 1930, playwright Lorraine Hansberry was born in Chicago. She wrote Raisin in the Sun, was the first drama by an African American to be produced on Broadway. Strongly resembles Lena Horne. I thought this was going to be about Lena Horne. 1935, British archaeological scholar and military strategist T.E. Lawrence, or Lawrence of Arabia, as we all know him, died in the age of 46 following a motorcycle accident.
That's right, he was a real guy.
Life inspired. That's right. Again, the beginning of the movie, Lawrence of Arabia, starts with him dying in a motorcycle accident. 1994, Jackie Onassis died at the age of 64. Jackie Bouvier Kennedy Onassis, who was the U.S. First Lady, married to President J.F. Kennedy, became known for her style and elegance. Happy birthday not birthday. This is the day she passed away at the age of 64. Wow, all that money and wealth and only got to be 64. That money can't buy everything. 2018, Prince Harry married American actress Meghan Markle, and then England has never been the same since. Oh my God, she married an American. She married an American. She's gonna turn us all into bastards. Too late, you're already bastards. Anyway, Prince Harry married American actress Meghan Markle at St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle. The ceremony, unlike any previous royal wedding, mixed pomp and circumstance of the African-American culture, the latter celebration of the bride's biracial background. Oh, that's why they don't like her. Not only she's from the colonies, but she's black. The humanity. Oh, no. Make it stop. It burns. Oh, my poor white skin. Okay, anyway, I'm done freaking out for the British population. I'm sorry, the racist British population who just still hasn't gotten over it. People like Piers Morgan. I say idiot all the time, ragging on her. Oh my God, how dare she marry somebody? Anyway.
I mean, as an anti-royalist myself, I don't really care.
Yeah, Jesus. What? Exactly.
Congratulations, you got married. It's like so
crap.
Crazy. People are so obsessed with the royal family that they care. Like, they think it's
Do
important.
you know what she said the other day? Man, I hope it was something that pissed off a bunch of white people. I really do, because I just don't get it. 2024 on this day, Iranian hardline president Abraham Raisi died in a helicopter crash.
All right.
Mossad.
Yeah.
That was 1 year ago today. Mossad Pezeshkian, the country's most reform-oriented president in decades, was elected to replace him in July. A suspicious helicopter crash. Probably was brought down by some kind of missile. 1884, our featured event. The Ringling Brothers Circus was formed. The Ringling Brothers opened the small circus in Baraboo, Wisconsin. There's actually a circus museum there. On this day in 1884,
Really?
and by the early 20th century, has transformed it into the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, the leading American circus, which I'm not sure it's even in existence anymore. Our feature biography, Malcolm X's birthday today. Malcolm X, born May 19th, 1925, 100 years ago today. So if Malcolm X was around, he'd be 100. But I don't think he was ever going to live that long. He was assassinated February 21st, 1965. He only got to be 39 years old. He was
Also, being black in America definitely lowers your, your max age. You can
yeah, he was assassinated while the police and the FBI just looked the other way. Just said, that'll be taken care of. We don't have to worry about him anymore. So, once again, the United States government complicit in another assassination. 1925 is also the birthday of Pol Pot. Imagine, Malcolm X and Pol Pot, the Cambodian political leader, leader of the Khmer Rouge, who was, murdered people. Malcolm X and Pol Pot were born on the same exact day. Crazy. 1928, Dolph Shays, American basketball player, his birthday. He would be 97 today. Kevin Garnett, born in 1976. He would be 49. So happy birthday to Kevin Garnett. And Sam Smith, British songwriter, born in 1992, turning 33 today. Happy birthday to Sam Smith. And what day is it? It's National Roadie Day. The guys that pack up the equipment, set it up on the stage before the band gets there, and as soon as the concert's over, they go to work, tear it down, and get to the next town. Hard-ass job, very dangerous job. Shit can fall on you. A lot of people die out on the road.
Crush your head. Walking on those, what do you call them? The metal bits, the scaffolding, keeping all those lights up, and all sorts of.
Yeah, and while the rock stars are partying with groupies backstage, you're tearing that stuff down for the next town. So, National Roadie Day. Shout out to Jeff Lebowski, who was a roadie for Metallica.
That's pretty cool.
Fictional, bro. Fictional. National Devil's Food Cake Day. Devil's Food Cake. What's Devil's Food Cake? The devil made it. And it's National
It's too good.
May
The devil
Ray
must have
Day,
made it.
which I imagine. the devil, it's the devil. It's National May Ray Day, which I imagine celebrates the sun existing, which I don't know, we'd be doing without the sun. It would just be another speck in the freaking cosmos without the sun. So that's what we would be. Those are your days. Those are your silliness, your mispronunciations, your disasters, most of all, your election news. Your spins and wheels for this day May 19th, 2025 on Before Devil's Food Cake. Yep, it's the devil's food.
Delicious.
My lord.
All right, I've got 3 haikus for you. 3 things I chose from today's show. First one. In desert vast he roamed, a star among the sands, Lawrence, king of dreams. In Harlem's heart, a voice was born. Malcolm X, the fiery dawn, a nation stirred, awakened. With guitars and drums in tow, they weave a tale of woe or show, their passion burning bright. Of course, that's about the roadies, because they are what makes the show even happen. Here you go, our 3 haikus there. As we tie off, or I say tie off, we start a new week here on Before Coffee. Mucking Funday. It's Monday. It's not so fun, but we're trying our best, and we'll see you tomorrow for our Good Tuesday News Day, where we will cover some positive news, some things that inspire you to go on living. So don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn that notification bell on so you know when we go live. This has been Allison from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the US, and here is our Mucking Funday mic drop moment.
You know what the funniest answer I got? I go, why do you think people are still in the Klan? 2024, and some guy yelled out, he goes, something to do! You know, we all got our things. Some people are into bowling, some people like to draw, some people like to blow up churches with innocent people in there. I mean, it's, you know, it's all, you know.
It's just a good hobby, yeah, it's just a casual hobby.
Yeah, something to do.
You know why they still exist? You know why, right? Some people go, well, you know, it's a First Amendment issue. It's a freedom of speech. We have this wonderful thing in this country, for white people only, called freedom of speech. I mean, they have to be allowed to join these groups. They have to be allowed to march down the streets with semi-automatic weapons, chanting the N-word, trying to create a race war on the internet, okay? They have to be allowed to do this.
It's their right.
Not allowed to do this. It's a slippery slope. Next thing you know, there goes the town pool. So you really have to be careful.
Oh yeah, the town.
We
don't want to lose the town pool.
You name one other fucking race that can do that.
Only white people.
I'm telling you. The reason why they still fucking exist is because they don't fuck with white people. That's basically it. If they did to white people what the fuck they've done to black people, how long do you think that stupid fucking group would have been around? Maybe 5 weeks, because it was the 1800s and it took a month to get across the state to get to those idiots. And they would have mowed them down with the first machine gun that was the size of a fucking cannon. And that would have been fucking it. No, you don't believe me? Do you remember 9/11 when those brown people knocked down those two
they killed all the slave owners in Haiti. And France punished them for it.
Kill all those motherfuckers! Blow up that whole side of the plant! Anybody with a brown shirt, yeah, the exact same people. If the
like rabid dogs.
Boys does some fucked up shit, what is the best we have? The most liberal of my people. What's the best we got? Oh my God, that's terrible. Can you believe that?
Anyways, I have to go pick up my Starbucks order.
People.
It's late again.
I just don't get it. God.
How can people be so hateful?
Are you guys watching Baby Reindeer? That is fucking amazing. No, you have to watch it.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons. And follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.